What kind of joke is thieves a kid in my shop, right in the middle of an official inspection? That's the first thing out of Mr. Davidson's mouth. And let me tell you, the way his voice cut through Central Motors, it was like a fire alarm. Every mechanic in the place stopped cold. There was Maya Thompson, just 12 years old, crouched next to the engine of a 2018 Chevy, hands wrapped around a wrench like she'd been born holding one. She'd only just come in from school, same as every day, always dropping by to help her dad, Marcus, who'd led this crew for 15 years. "I'm sorry, Mr. Davidson," Marcus started, hustling over, nerves all over his face. "Maya, go home. Now's not the time," but Davidson put up his hand, silencing him like a judge in court. "Now, Davidson is the owner, big money, always in those crisp suits, shoes that cost more than my rent, the kind of guy who thinks Greece is for peasants. He was doing one of his surprise inspections, the kind that could shut us down if you looked at him wrong. And then, with this slow, mean smile, he says, 'Wait, Marcus, let her stay. Actually, I've got a better idea.' Maya stood up, eyes right on him. She already knew that look, the one that says, 'I've decided what you're worth just by seeing you.' The kind of look she'd seen from teachers, security guards, neighbors, you know what I mean? Davidson looked her up and down, then strolled to the back where a Porsche 911 was parked under a tarp. That Porsche was a legend around. Here nobody could get the engine to start. Even Tony, our 30-year veteran, had thrown up his hands. 'Your girl seems confident,' Davidson went on, loud enough for every ear. 'How about we give her a shot at the Porsche? If she even figures out what's wrong, maybe I'll keep your little shop running.' You could have heard a socket wrench drop in the silence that followed. Marcus tried to protest, voice shaky. 'She's just a kid, sir.' But Davidson cut him off, arms folded, grin wider. 'Exactly. A kid who spends all day in this shop. She should know as much as you boys, right?' The challenge was clear, the trap set. And Maya, well, there's something you gotta know about her. She gets this look when someone tells her she can't, like when she cracks a math problem that stumps everyone or fixes electronics her neighbors throw away. She notices stuff a rattle here, a pattern, there's stuff most folks miss. Her dad thought it was just curiosity, but Maya knew it was something else. 'All right,' she said, voice steady as steel, 'I'll do it.' Davidson laughed, clapping slow, taunting. 'Hear that? The girl accepts. Tell you what, Teef, she pulls it off. I'll keep the shop and give you all a bonus. If she fails, well, you know what happens.' Everybody watched as Maya headed for the Porsche, her little hands on the hood, her face shifting from nervous kid to stone-cold problem solver. What Davidson didn't know was that Maya had been secretly reading every advanced manual she could find, digging through her dad's office, sneaking peeks when nobody was watching. And she had a theory about this Porsche, had since the day it rolled in. She started circling the car, eyes scanning every wire and bolt, and Davidson just stood there, arms crossed, smirking. 'It's going to take all day, princess,' he called out, loud and mean. Tony, watching from the side, leaned into Marcus. 'This ain't right, man. She's a kid.' Marcus could only grit his teeth. 'If I step in, Davidson will shut us down for good.' But Maya, she tuned out the noise, her hands running along the parts in a pattern Tony recognized. Not random poking, but systematic, ignition, fuel, electronics. It was the kind of sequence only an experienced mechanic would follow. She murmured to herself, 'Interesting,' and Davidson barked another laugh. 'Figure it out yet, genius?' No shame in giving up. But Maya kept at it, finally crouching down and pointing to a little black box. 'Did you check if this module's sending the right codes to the central system?' The whole place went quiet. Nobody had checked that. It was new tech, not in the old training books. 'Of course we checked,' Davidson lied, but Maya just nodded, calm as ever. 'Makes sense. I read about these modules a while back.' She stopped, suddenly aware she'd said too much. Tony's ears perked up. 'Where do you read about that?' Maya glanced at her dad, then shrugged. 'Technical manuals from the office. I use my phone to translate the hard parts, and there are some good videos online.' Davidson let out this ugly laugh. 'So YouTube University's going to fix my Porsche?' He turned to the others, ridiculing her, but Maya wasn't fazed. She leaned over the engine, growing more confident, explaining how the Porsche system used digital signatures. Each part had a unique code, and if the computer didn't recognize it, the engine wouldn't start, anti-theft, and all that. One of the younger guys, Jake, admitted he'd never heard of it. Maya explained, it's new tech. Most courses haven't caught up, but it's in the latest manuals. Davidson was starting to sweat, getting irritated. Enough talk. Prove it. Get it running, or admit you're just a kid who reads the internet. Tension ratcheted up. Maya turned to Davidson, eyes sharp. All right, but I'll need a few minutes alone and a computer with internet access to get the right software. Marcus was stunned. What software? To reset the digital signatures, Maya answered, like it was obvious. Davidson balked. I'm not letting a kid mess with a 200 grand car's electronics. But Tony stepped up, surprising everyone. Let her try. If she screws up, you were ready to junk the car anyway. But if she succeeds, you get a working Porsche. Maya flashed him a grateful look. That was all she needed. What nobody knew was, for 6 months, she'd been secretly running diagnostic experiments, hacking into the shop's computer systems, figuring out problems grown men hadn't solved. She'd already cracked the case on this Porsche, just never dared to say it out loud. Now, with the shop and her dad's job on the line, she had no choice. Davidson reluctantly agreed. 15 minutes, Maya said, hooking up her own laptop. Davidson laughed nervously, but he was sweating. 15 minutes to solve what experts hadn't in 3 days. She called her delusional. Maya just got to work, her fingers flying across the keyboard. No hesitation, just pure focus. Dad, she said, not even glancing up, remember when I said I was studying the manuals? I wasn't just studying. I was hacking. The whole shop went silent. Davidson stepped closer, face red. What did you say? Maya kept typing, unbothered. 6 months ago, I hacked Porsche's diagnostic network. Not to steal, but to learn why so many cars came in with the same issue nobody could fix. Davidson was rattled. Impossibly, a kid can't hack Porsche security. Maya finally looked at him. A normal kid couldn't. But I'm not normal. I see patterns nobody else does. She spun her laptop around, showing a list of serial numbers, dates, and places. Every one of these cars was sabotaged at the factory, a module programmed to fail 90 days after first use. Tony stepped up to the screen. My God, she's right. Maya nodded, clicking to another tab, showing internal documents. All these cars were repurchased by Porsche cheap, fixed with one line of code, and resold at a huge profit. Davidson, what do you think I got these files? Davidson started to panic. You can't prove it, but Maya just opened another window. His own emails with Porsche executives, listing every detail of the scam, who, when, how much in kickbacks. Marcus looked over her shoulder, his face darkening with outrage. Davidson, you knew all along. You told us not to find a fix. Maya pointed at a message. Direct orders. Keep the staff on old-school diagnostics. Declare unrepairable after 48 hours. Jake, angry now, stepped forward. You made us look incompetent, all to line your own pockets. Davidson, desperate, accused Maya of hacking. She's a criminal, but Maya just smiled. Maybe, but you'll have to believe them, too. With a final click, she revealed a live stream, every word, every confession, broadcast to hundreds online. The comments rolled in, people furious, recognizing Davidson, realizing they'd been conned. Someone called the FBI. Davidson's face went chalk white. Why? He whispered, broken. Maya closed her laptop. Because you bet a black girl from the projects couldn't outthink you. You saw what you wanted to nobody. You gave me the chance to prove you wrong the minute you tried to humiliate me. Sirens wailed outside. Davidson finally got it, lost everything. Not to a rival, but to the girl he never saw coming. Maya stood there, unshaken, knowing she just changed not only her fate, but maybe a whole industry's. When nobody guessed, her live stream went viral, caught the eye of some big names. 3 months later, Maya's in a glass tower, pitching fraud detection software to execs from Tesla, Google, Microsoft. She lands a multi-million-dollar deal, but all she wants is for her dad's crew, Tony, Jake, everyone who stood by her to get a piece of the action. Davidson? After the scandal, he lost it all: shop, money, marriage, everything. He shuffled around cheap garages, muttering about the kid who wrecked his world, while Maya's face was on TV, winning national awards. Back at the newly named Thompson and Daughter Automotive, Maya taught classes, sharing everything she'd learned, building something bigger than any scam. "Dad," she said, laughing, "guess all that time the shop paid off." Tony, handing her a new diagnostic tablet, grinned. "Kid, you taught us more than 30 years in the business ever did." "It wasn't about knowing more," Maya replied, "just seeing things different." 6 months on, her system ran in shops nationwide. She started a non-profit to teach kids like herons nobody believed in. At a talk, a teen asked how she faced down Davidson. "He was powerful," Maya admitted, "but he confused power with smarts and age with weakness. When people underestimate you, you get the upper hand, they never see you coming." Another kid asked what if she'd failed. Maya smiled. "I was prepared. Revenge isn't dragging them down. It's rising so high they can't touch you." 2 years later, Maya's at MIT, consulting, shaping an industry. Davidson can't get a job, his name's poison. And Maya? She proves every day that the best way to beat prejudice is to smash expectations. The little girl who was told she couldn't, she rebuilt not just an engine, but an entire system, giving hope to everyone who ever got looked down on. If this story fired you up or made you think twice about judging someone's worth, leave a comment. Ever been underestimated, only to prove them wrong? Your story could be the one that inspires the next Maya out there, Sue. Don't hold back.